Welcome to this new and special edition of the Queer God Squad. We are the coolest pastors you'll ever meet. Faith and religion can be complicated for the LGBTQ plus community. Surveys show that evangelical faith is the justification for the greatest attacks on the LGBTQ plus community.
So the Queer God Squad is going to explore our religious community, explore the big news of the day and what it means to you.
And we're going to explore, if we can, find some places that help heal the pain and hurt that religion can be responsible for. We know you're going to find some hope, peace, and fun in our conversation.
It's 3 p.m. and the Queer God Squad is broadcasting daily. This is live, and then we're available on demand.
We are available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, YouTube, and Facebook.
In the entire world, nothing like this has ever existed for the LGBTQ plus community before.
I am Reverend Dr. Darrell Watkins, Senior Minister here at Sunshine Cathedral. I am Reverend Dr. Robert Griffin, the Executive Minister here at the Sunshine Cathedral.
And I am Reverend Dr. Michael Diaz, Executive Pastor at Cathedral Hope UCC in Dallas, Texas, currently on sabbatical.
I am the Reverend Kevin Tisdall, the Minister of Education at Sunshine Cathedral.
Radical GOP and evangelicals have launched a culture war on our LGBTQ plus community. They want to push you back into the closet. We're not going. At Sunshine Cathedral, we are here to tell you that you are God's miracle, not God's mistake. Our commitment in partnering with Happening Out Television Network and Queer News Tonight is to give the LGBTQ plus faith communities this voice for change, for hope, that you are not alone. Here we go.
This is the Sunshine Cathedral perspective. UN declares religious freedom must reconcile with LGBTQ plus rights. United Nations officials believe that religion must be made compatible with the rights of LGBTQ plus persons and practices. In the latest report to the 53rd session of the Human Rights Council, Victor Madrigal-Borloz, the UN's independent expert on protection against violence and discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity, said religious freedoms can often have severe negative consequences for the personhood, dignity, and spirituality of LGBTQ plus persons. Madrigal-Borloz says LGBTQ plus people are excluded from religious communities simply because of who they are. Using the combination of the words violence and discrimination nearly half a dozen times, Madrigal-Borloz paints a picture of religious communities that seek to inflict punishment on LGBTQ plus persons. It's not the first time he's painted that picture either. In May 2020, he wrote a report for the UN condemning the practice of conversion therapy, which seeks to change a person's sexual orientation to the traditional one established by biological sex. His recent report appears to contradict the UN's own position on religious freedom in its Covenant for Civil and Political Rights, CCPR. The CCPR says taking away the right to religious consequence to protect LGBTQ plus rights would arguably establish state control over religion. I don't even know where to start. The conversation seems always to be that there is something wrong with our community. We need to move away from that whole concept that being LGBTQ plus is wrong. We are made in God's image, and God, we used to say, I don't hear people saying it too often, but God doesn't make mistake. So if we are created in God's image and we are living our true selves, then I'm sorry, but I'm never going to accept that I am less than anyone else. That's all I've got to say about this.
Well, I've got one word in response to religious conscience. If you can't exercise religious conscience, that's a state controlling religion. And the word I have is bullshit. Conscience is one thing. but your conscience is not the police force for other people's lives. My conscience may tell me that I need to keep it zipped, that, you know, my hand should never touch another body, no hand should touch this body. I can have that, and if that makes me happy, and I can try to teach my friends and loved ones to follow my path because it's been so great for me or whatever. But once I start saying that now I can discriminate against people who have whose conscience tells them something else, this idea that religion can't be corralled in any way, but the religion can encroach on your life in any way it wants to. That's that's not sane. That's not reasonable. That's not ethical. And so, I'm sorry that your religion gets to teach that your sexual that your gender has to match your genitalia. If you have ambiguous genitalia, if you're intersex, I don't know what you're supposed to do with that, but that your physicality determines your gender experience. You can believe that. You can believe that with all of your heart and soul. You can teach that to everybody who will listen. But once you start enforcing that, because my spirituality, my morality, my ethics, my faith says that we are at choice and that joy is a gift of the Spirit. And if me improving my life and living more openly and exploring more options, if that's what brings me joy, then that is a movement of Spirit. So my faith just fuck my drag, just my faith doesn't matter because your conscience says that I have to look a certain way or live a certain way. No. Also, no.
Not gonna happen.
What struck out to me was the word violence, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is an ongoing problem that many religious folks refuse to acknowledge, right? The fact that, yes, they want to discriminate, now they want to punish, but also there's violence being inflicted on queer communities all across the globe, right? Our trans friends and neighbors are constantly being persecuted, not just politically, not just legally, but killed, right? Murdered, executed at a rate that is much higher than other populations. And the very fact that
trans women of color in particular.
Yes.
The very fact that it's religious folks, again, who want the license to discriminate. We talked about morality earlier.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, where's the morality in our religious circles?
Exactly. You can't use your religion to dehumanize someone and then act like your hands are clean when those people are treated as if they're not human. And so that it is violent. And if no one was ever choked, punched, stabbed, or run over in a car, it is still emotional and spiritual violence to try to tell people that they are subhuman, that they don't matter, that they are beyond if there is such a thing as grace, it doesn't apply to them. If there is such a thing as God, that God can't stand them. If there's such a thing as love, it can't be genuine for them, or it can't include them. There is no way you can hear that over and over and over, no matter what your age, and not feel attacked, not feel abused, not feel threatened, not feel violated. So the rhetoric itself is violent, and it leads to very real physical harm way too often.
Well, and I think that's the healing opportunity that a lot of places, specifically like Sunshine Cathedral, can offer to the world, as a place to recognize that, yes, religious violence has been done, discrimination has happened because of gender, sexuality, and all these other things, and still there has to be that place that offers hope. And I think we have to remind ourselves that we can be that place to offer hope to the world, even from the UN all the way down to the lowest one, that calls for, the religious reconciliation, and to call to say, if you believe what you preach and read about Jesus, then do what Jesus said. Just love.
Yes.
Just love. Love would not allow, acting on the principle of the love of Jesus would not allow you to do this type of violence towards anyone. It would not allow you to do this type of discrimination against anyone. So I would like to invite those who are doing this to go back to step one and think about how Jesus loves and just act on that alone.
Think of every politician who's ever been asked this question. I don't like the question, but every politician who's ever been asked the question, what is your favorite Bible verse or Bible story? To a person, because they haven't read anything, to a person they'll say, well, I believe in the Sermon on the Mount. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Because that is the sermon where Jesus gives the golden rule. Do unto others you would have others do unto you. That's Matthew chapter 7. It's the third bit of the Sermon on the Mount. So if you believed in the Sermon on the Mount, if you had any regard for it all, if it impacted your life at all, you would try to treat people the way you'd want to be treated. And nobody wants to be treated the way homophobes treat gay people. Nobody wants to be treated the way transphobes treat transgender and gender non-binary and gender queer people. Nobody wants to be treated the way racists treat people of color. Nobody wants to be treated the way xenophobes treat migrants and immigrants and people seeking refugees. No, you just couldn't treat people the way you treat people if you had given 2 seconds thought to one of the primary principles of the Sermon on the Mount. So I get very angry. I believe in the Sermon on the Mount. Quote me one verse from it, and that verse better be Matthew chapter 7, because no. And again, you don't need religion to do the right thing. And sometimes religion is the excuse to do the very wrong thing. Now, I always have to say, because people say, I don't understand, you wear a collar, there's a steeple on your building, it's called the God Squad, but you're against all of these. We're against meanness, we're against cruelty, we're against abuse. We're not against spirituality. We also don't say that our version of it is the only way to experience it. We're not saying that how we are today is the end of the journey, like we're not going to have a new thought or a new opinion or a new experience tomorrow. I think spirituality is important. I think it's part of human wholeness. I also think it's been hijacked by religious autocracy, and that's what we're opposing. And we're doing it because we value the spiritual journey. Yes, you could just buy all this meanness and be part of the problem. Or yes, you could just walk away and say it's too broken to fix. I'm just an atheist doing my own thing. And I'm not even against that. But some of us love spiritual community. We love what we think we can be. We love working together and playing together and praying together. And some of us have a very mystical idea of God. Some of us aren't even sure about God. I, for one, have no idea what's after this life. I'm not doing anything to get into heaven because I don't know anything about any heaven. I haven't even been to Wyoming, so I can't tell you anything about heaven. I'm not doing it for heaven. It's not fire insurance. But I love being with people on a journey. And I love how we take care of each other when things are sad. And I love how we celebrate together when things are good. And I love that we can ask each other questions that leads to deeper questions, that lead to spiritual growth. That's what I love. So we're not against spirituality, God knows. We're not against spiritual community. But we're not going to let people who are using it as a weapon have the only word on how it can be done. And so, yes, pour me a cocktail. Yes, I'm going to swear. Yes, I don't care how much sex you have. I might be a little jealous because, I'm of an age where I, can't perform the way I once did. For one thing, I've got a bad back. So I may be a little jealous about it.
And you're married.
But I'm not judgy. Who do you think hurt my back? So no, we're not against religion and we're not against God, but we are offering a very different narrative to those who are using it to be weaponized against people and hurt people.
And you're also for religious conscience.
Yes.
I think that's what many people don't get. Many times people try to frame these stories as religious conscience on one side and the LGBT community on the other side.
Yes.
Well, the very fact that we all here are sitting at the intersections of these communities.
Yes. Nice.
I am pro-choice because of my religious and spiritual conscience. I am for marriage equality because equality is one of my spiritual values. Whenever religion is the excuse for meanness, I just think it's been misused and misunderstood. It's certainly not the only way it can be understood and used.
We are excited to tell you we are going to cruise the Eastern Mediterranean. This fall, this trip will include the world's major religious sites of Christians, Jews, and Muslims as we visit Athens, Egypt, Israel, and Ephesus in our 3 continents cruise. You can find out more and reserve your space at happeningout.travel/sunshine.
Join Reverend Dr. Darrell Watkins and Reverend Dr. Robert Griffin as they host more than 50 people on the Sunshine Cathedral 13-day cruise tour to 3 continents. From just $13.99, you'll visit Athens and cruise to Egypt and the Giza Plateau to see the Great Pyramid, Sphinx, and brand new Egyptian National Museum with King Tut exhibit. Then to Israel for Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Don't miss the most important Christian UNESCO site in the world, located in Turkey, and the 3,000-year-old city of Ephesus. You also cruise the Med for Rhodes in the Greek Isles and Cyprus. A farewell at the Acropolis makes this a never-before combination of historic sites, a must-do cruise. It's all turnkey inclusive, and a bar is available, all transfers, escorts, hotels, and more. Go to happeningout.travel/sunshine for complete details.
Would you like to join the Queer God Squad on a special winter cruise in 2024? Well, now you can. You will visit Cozumel, Mexico, Grand Cayman, and Ocho Rio. And you can even add an open bar and Wi-Fi. Join us by going to happeningout.travel/sunshine.
Join the Queer God Squad and Sunshine Cathedral for a wonderful Caribbean cruise on the brand new Ultra Deluxe MSC Seascape. The 8-day cruise starts at just $399 plus government taxes. Sail February 10th, 2024 from Miami to Ocean Cay MSC Marine Reserve, the world's best private island. You'll also visit Cozumel, Mexico, Grand Cayman, and Ocho Rios. Join us on an 8-day Caribbean cruise. This winter cruise will be the perfect getaway and an opportunity to support Sunshine Cathedral as a beneficiary. The trip is affordable for all, as you can make a reservation on this cruise for just $1, just $1, to confirm your reservation, and then there's a $99 interest-free monthly payment plan, so it's easy on your pockets. What's more, there's also a free open bar and Wi-Fi program when you pay for just 1 day, $25 transfers to and from the Miami Pier, and an exclusive onboard entertainment program for Sunshine Cathedral guests. This cruise will be a perfect winter getaway for you. Join us by going to happeningout.travel/sunshine.
Happening Out Television Network is a 501c3 nonprofit media platform in the television and radio model of PBS and NPR, but designed for our LGBTQ+ community. The Queer God Squad is part of one of the largest LGBTQ+ media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
Our mission is to support the 10 pillars of the LGBTQ+ community, including the Black community, Latino, lesbian and queer women, trans students and youth and seniors, HIV and AIDS, healthcare, social justice. Business and other 10th pillar is faith. Help us support our LGBTQ+ community.
That's today with the Queer God Squad. We want to thank you for joining us. We are here daily at 3 p.m. to have some fun and discuss what our LGBTQ+ community is talking about.
Sunshine Cathedral is the world's largest progressive queer church. Progressive, queer, and God are words that naturally should go together. And we are all in this together. Remember that.
You are God's miracle, not God's mistake.
Until next time, we are the Queer God Squad. Bye.
Bye.